with that, we should bring up our first presenter. We have Serenity Kitchen with Cooki. If you're going to come up here, give us your best, and we'll be timing you at 5 minutes. Bill here is going to be keeping the time and flagging you down and letting you know when you need to wrap it up. I'll be over here in this chair.
Wonderful.
And if I have to wrestle you to the ground, it'll make for a great YouTube moment, and everyone will know about your product.
Sounds good.
So make that happen.
Perfect. Even
All right.
better. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for coming this morning. My name is Timothy Chen. I'm the CEO of Serenity Kitchen, and we make a robotic appliance that cooks one-pot meals with the push of a button. Think of it as a Keurig for food where, excuse me, I don't have a clicker. Do I? Or it's in my pocket. I'm sorry. So we make a robotic cooking appliance that cooks one-pot meals with a touch of a button. You set it and forget it, and it'll tell you when your food is ready. And my clicker decides not to work. Okay, so a lot of people love cooking, but millennials are growing up without the acuity, the time, or the ability to cook great meals, but they still want to eat well. Another phenomenon that we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years is that a lot of people are starting to deliver you ingredients and deliver you food. It was a nascent business just 5 years ago, and now 5 million meals are being delivered into consumer households. People want the ability to actually eat better than they have ever before. So they're getting away from microwavable meals and getting away from foods that are processed to fresh foods. Another phenomenon that we've seen is that in the last 10 to 15 years, do you remember having every one of these devices? I sure did. Now all of them are used less often because you have one device that's able to achieve all of these things in communications, in gaming. However, look around your kitchen. There are a variety of devices that serve one singular purpose and one singular function. What's the killer app that's going to enable cooking to be better with a touch of a button? Introducing Cooki, your one-stop shop, one-push device that cooks for you. It makes one-pot meals, so soups, salads, pastas, rice. You can scramble eggs, sautés. You can cook curries. You can cook one-pot meals. And it uses fresh ingredients. So instead of K-cups like the Keurig, you put in multiple trays of fresh ingredients. You pop it in. You associate it with your smart device, which has a recipe. And it gives machine language instruction for the machine to actually make food for you. It's perfect for busy professionals because they don't have the time or the acuity to actually make every meal every week. The machine will retail for $400 to $500, and the meals will sell for $4 to $8. If you think about the cost of a meal, about 10 to 20% is actually the ingredients themselves. Could you land somewhere in between that and compete with frozen meals while still having amazing home-cooked food? We believe you can. And the ingredients are wholesome. They're naturally delivered directly to your door, or as we continue to build the ecosystem, you can pick them up directly in retail stores. Our goal is to transition what we've been doing from the microwave, and instead of heating up preservatized meals that have a tremendous amount of sodium, now you can get fresh ingredients delivered to you via the multitude of channels that currently exist today, and you can finish it directly into the device. This could be directly in your home kitchen, or it could be in a workplace where you pop in some cartridges of food that's 80 to 90% finished, and it'll finish it for you within 5 minutes. So at that office lunchtime, you can actually have a fresh meal prepared instead of having leftovers. And the result? It's really good meals. And we invite you to come and see how we actually make it. We're a team of roboticists, machine learning experts, and AI specialists that's going to be able to make this a reality. And we've supplemented our expertise in food, logistics, and we partner with Highway 1 to deliver an amazing prototype, and we're planning to get this into production by 2016. So far, we've built a working prototype. We have a tremendous amount of IP regarding this because we believe it's time that food is a one-button pushing experience. We've been featured in a variety of media. The question consistently that people ask is, can you guys really do this? We're currently doing this, and we're going to make it even better. Our strategy to go live is that towards the end of this year, we currently have 5 of the top workspaces committed to us to launch this in their offices, taking a path very similar to how Keurig started. We're going to put a machine into their co-working space, put some fresh food that's delivered fresh daily, and all that they have to do to cook a meal is to put the cartridge in there, and within 5 minutes, fresh food is actually made within their co-working spaces. We intend to show about $1,000 in revenue off of food per machine in the 3.5 million workspaces that have at least 50 people or more. And we think that in the offices, we can already scale up. On the consumer side, we plan to actually just go to a farmer's market and just saute fresh vegetables. An average draw at a farmer's market is about 500,000 people per weekend. So we think that we can organically build a momentum to really take this forward, to show that people could cook great food by just pushing a button. And since we are at Maker Faire, this is really a maker ecosystem. We've all heard about Keurig's horror stories about not letting other people into their machine. Well, we want to do the exact opposite. People can actually assemble their own ingredients, they can make their own recipes, and if you make an amazing recipe, socialize it out. Because when you do that, other people can download your recipes, one of our partners will provide you the ingredients, and then you, as a creator of that recipe, gets to monetize. It's a tremendous ecosystem that we liken to the music industry. And by 2016, we're going to be shipping our machines, and we're working with PCH aggressively to actually make that timeline. Sorry, the clicker is giving me a little bit of problems here. All right, so, and we're Serenity Kitchen. We really appreciate it. Please follow us at serenitikitchen.com, and we love for your support. Thank you so much.
Stay up here, Timothy. Thank you. Well, you can hold on to that for a minute. All right, judges. Among you, are there some questions for Timothy on Serenity Kitchen?
Can't go yet.
Yeah, you're not out of here yet.
You said that the meals would be made in 5 minutes. Can you
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the machine has the capability of making meals from hours at a time to reduce at 5 minutes. It's a matter of establishing food science around the ecosystem. So if you need something fast, ingredients could be par cooked, meaning that chicken could be 80%, 90% cooked and delivered to you. So you get a refreshing experience instead of getting delivery of food that's at least an hour out of the pot. So this is where the restaurants can actually participate as well, because they can have a second tier system where they can get a lot more people interested in their food, where their food's not served right away, but they can create a pipeline of delivery that can get more people to eat their meals. So it's actually an enhancement for people who want to make the meal to a certain extent and then distribute it. Thank you.
Yeah, hey. So I feel like I'm like the person that is your target market. Like I probably eat 80% of my meals by delivery, or I eat out somewhere or whatever. So my major question is like, okay, on the one end you've got like ramen, like stuff that's super cheap. I pour boiling water, it's done. You know, it's not great. And then the other side, it's like some kind of Sprig, Grubhub, something like that. So how do you're saying you can actually get this in like, what do you think the delivery time would be of these trays?
Yeah, so the delivery mechanism will be in different stages. So typically you can subscribe to a meal kit. So it mails you, let's say, 10 meals that you can put in your refrigerator. So it's literally just taking it out of the refrigerator, putting it into it. Within 5 minutes, your meal's ready, almost like a frozen meal.
So how does something like sliced onions, which have like a really, you know, it's going to run out. Do you have some kind of preparation to keep them fresh?
That's a very good question. So those are within the food sciences. So on the tray side, we found IP in our tray mechanism. You can actually suction the air out of it. You can actually pump noble gases into it to actually keep the food fresh. But even better, a lot of people are using food science to actually make food last a long time. A lot of the packaging companies will say, you know, if I cook the onions directly into the sauce itself, the acidity or the oil base will actually surround it and actually give it a longer shelf life. So depending on what you want to have, there's a time sensitivity to what you have, but there's ways to actually make food last longer by food science and recombination of ingredients.
And so the idea is they'll have like multiple trays that have been delivered at some point.
Exactly.
And then,
Yeah. Typical shelf life is 1 to 2 weeks, and we intend to use food science to actually make that even longer. Please.
Will you need to use the trays?
Okay.
pre-prepared food, or can you use your own food with the device?
You can do both. You know, this is where we provide for, if you want the ease and the convenience, you get things delivered to you, eating somebody else's meals. But you can actually prepare and cook your own meals. We imagine a day where, let's say, if you cook an amazing chicken cacciatore, you're able to pass it on for generations and say, this is how I cook it. And as we continue on the technology path, it's going to be able to actually recognize the data that you put into it, because the kitchen is almost devoid of data. And now, every time a robotic arm moves, we actually know the XYZ coordinates of every nanosecond that it travels. So we generate data of the love of cooking, and we aim to emulate that into a feedback loop so that you can pass that on for generations. You can share that. Food is supposed to be the most social experience in the world, and we intend to make it so.
So my question is about kind of the chicken and egg problem of having a, as it were, of having a device that you have to get out into the world, and an infrastructure for delivering food pods, which is very local.
Yes.
So how do you scale up those for the consumer space?
Right, one city at a time. You know, so we're starting out in the San Francisco area. We want to make sure that we scale this up in the San Francisco area to deliver good local food. You'll see that in the food delivery world, this is how they're scaling up as well. It's usually one city at a time, one distribution center at a time. Mass food will come eventually, but we want to focus on the local, the sustainable foods to start.
Sorry to follow up, but does that work when you require that your subscribers buy a $500 piece of equipment, which you also have to manufacture at scale?
Right. So are you asking about the cost of the equipment, or are you asking about the food supply system now?
I'm asking about the business's capability to grow and scale and keep on top of things. In a combination hardware subscription business.
Got it. So as far as the hardware goes, the bill of materials is about $150 to $200, so we almost break even at retail on the device. What we really monetize is the food. We're taking about $1 to $2 worth of ingredients, selling them for about $5 to $8 depending on the delivery method, so that we have at least a 50% margin on the business. So that's how you can actually continue to ramp up. And everybody is delivering you ingredients these days. Whole Foods, for example, partner with Instacart to actually get you ingredients. That could be a natural pipeline because they already prepare foods directly into their stores. You can eventually just pick up pods directly from those stores, or you can actually get things delivered for you. So that's where the monetization engine comes.
All right. I think that'll do it. Timothy Chen
Thanks
from
so much.
Serenity Kitchen. Sorry, I butchered the name earlier.